Sophie sat on her bed, staring at the pictures on her wall. They were filled with memories of laughter, shared secrets, and adventures with her best friend, Mia. But now, those moments felt like they belonged to another world. Mia had moved to another city 3 months ago, and Sophie felt the distance between them grow with each passing day. Sophie missed Mia more than she could express. They used to talk every day after school, sharing everything from their favorite songs to their biggest dreams. Now the silence felt heavy. They tried to keep in touch through texts and video calls, but it wasn't the same. Sophie longed for the days when they would sit together, laughing over silly jokes or planning their future adventures. As she scrolled through her phone, looking at old photos of them together, a wave of sadness washed over her.
Oh, she remembered.
The last time they were together, sitting on the swings at the park, talking about how they would face the world together. No matter where we go, we'll always have each other, Mia had said with a bright smile. Sophie had believed it then, but now the words felt hollow. Why did you have to move? Sophie whispered to herself, feeling the tears well up in her eyes. It wasn't Mia's fault. Her family had to move for her dad's job. That didn't make the pain any less real. Sophie felt like a part of her was missing, like a puzzle piece that had been lost, determined to change things. Sophie picked up her phone and opened the messaging app. She hesitated, her finger hovering over Mia's name. What could she say? I miss you felt too simple, too weak for everything she felt. But she knew she had to reach out. Taking a deep breath, she typed, Hey Mia, I was just thinking about you. I really miss our talks. How are you doing? After hitting send, Sophie felt a mix of hope and anxiety. What if Mia didn't feel the same way? What if she was too? Busy making new friends? The thought made her stomach twist with worry. But a moment later her phone buzzed and her heart raced as she saw Mia's name light up the screen. Hey Sophie! I miss you too. Things are going well here, but it's not the same without you. I wish I could come back. Sophie felt a spark of joy at the reply. It was a small step, but it was something. They continued to chat, sharing updates about their lives and reminiscing about their favorite memories. As they talked, Sophie felt the distance between them begin to shrink, even if just a little. She realized that their friendship was still strong, even if they were miles apart. Later that night, as she lay in bed, Sophie thought about how she could bring them closer. An idea sparked in her mind. Why not plan a visit? She quickly grabbed her notebook and began to jot down ideas. She could save up for a bus ticket to Mia's new city. If she could spend just a few days with her, they could recreate their old memories and make new ones. The thought filled her with excitement. It wouldn't be easy to save the money, but Sophie felt determined. She could take on small jobs around her neighborhood, like walking dogs or babysitting. She knew she could do it. With each passing day, Sophie worked hard, juggling school and her new jobs. The more she saved, the more hopeful she became. She imagined the moment she would surprise Mia, seeing the look of joy on her friend's face. It fueled her determination. After a month of hard work, she finally had enough for the bus ticket. Sophie could hardly believe it. She felt a wave of happiness wash over her. She had taken action, and it felt empowering. On the day of her visit, Sophie felt butterflies in her stomach. As she stepped off the bus in Mia's city, she looked around, taking in the new sights. With every step toward Mia's house, she felt the distance between them vanish. She was ready to reconnect, and nothing could feel more hopeful than that. As she knocked on the door, she couldn't help but smile. No matter the miles that separated them, their friendship was strong enough to bridge any gap. She was ready to show Mia that no distance could ever break what they shared. Sophie stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her hair nervously. Today was the day she would surprise Mia. After weeks of planning and saving, she had finally made it to Mia's new city. Excitement swirled in her stomach, but so did anxiety. What if Mia didn't remember their old friendship the same way? What if things had changed too much? Taking a deep breath, Sophie reminded herself of the reasons she came. She believed in their friendship. She knew that despite the distance, their bond was strong. No matter how far apart they were, they had shared so many important moments. Sophie clutched the small gift she had brought for Mia, friendship bracelet they used to wear together. It was a symbol of their connection, something to remind them of their promise to always be there for each other. As she walked through the streets of Mia's new neighborhood, Sophie felt a mix of excitement and fear. The city was different, bustling with people and new sights. She glanced at a coffee shop and remembered how she and Mia used to sit and talk for hours over steaming cups of hot chocolate. It made her smile, but it also made her miss Mia even more. Finally, she reached Mia's house. It looked cozy, with flowers blooming in the front yard. Taking another deep breath, Sophie knocked on the door. Her heart raced as she waited. She could hear movement inside, and just as she was about to second-guess herself, the door swung open. "Mia," Sophie exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. Mia stood there, wide-eyed and surprised. "Sophie, oh my gosh, you're here." Pulled Sophie into a warm hug, and in that moment all her fears melted away. The distance that had once felt so heavy began to lift. "I can't believe you came," Mia said, stepping back to look at her friend. "This is amazing. Come in." As they settled into the living room, Sophie felt a wave of happiness wash over her. They talked and laughed, just like old times. Mia showed her around the house, and they reminisced about their favorite memories together. Sophie felt like she had never left. After a while, Mia looked at Sophie with a serious expression. "I really missed you, you know. It was hard moving away." "I thought we might drift apart," Sophie nodded, feeling a lump in her throat. "I missed you too. I felt so alone without you. I wanted to reconnect, but I didn't know how." Mia smiled softly. "I'm glad you came. It means a lot to me. We can make this work, even if we're miles apart." Sophie felt a surge of hope. "You're right. We can call each other more often and plan visits and keep our friendship strong, no matter what." Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Yes. And I can show you my favorite spots in the city. We'll create new memories together." That afternoon, Mia took Sophie to the park nearby where they used to play as kids. They walked along the paths, talking about everything that had happened since the move. Sophie felt lighter with every step. The sun was shining, and laughter filled the air as they shared stories and dreams for the future. As the sun began to set, they found a quiet spot by a small lake. Sophie took out the friendship bracelet and handed it to Mia. "I wanted you to have this. It reminds me of our promise to always be there for each other." Mia's eyes widened, and she took the bracelet with a smile. "I love it. I'll wear it every day." She slipped it onto her wrist and hugged Sophie again. "No matter where we go, we'll always have each other." Sophie felt a warmth in her heart. The distance that had once seemed so daunting was now just a small challenge they could overcome together. They made a pact to keep in touch, to share their lives, and to always support one another, no matter the miles that separated them. As they watched the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, Sophie felt an overwhelming sense of hope. She realized that friendships could withstand distance, and that love and connection were powerful forces. No matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by their bond. In that moment, Sophie knew they were stronger than the distance. And as long as they believed in each other, their friendship would always shine brightly, lighting the way forward. Sophie woke up the next morning feeling lighter than she had in months. The visit with Mia had filled her with energy and hope. They had spent the day together, laughing, creating new memories, and reaffirming their friendship. But as she looked out the window at the busy streets of Mia's new city, she felt a familiar twinge of sadness. Soon, she would have to return home. After breakfast, Mia suggested they go to a local cafe. "It's one of my favorite places," she said with excitement. "They have the best pastries, plus it's a great spot to sit and chat." Sophie eagerly agreed, grateful for every moment she could spend with her friend. As they walked to the cafe, Sophie thought about how important it was to keep in touch after this visit. They had promised each other that they would stay connected, but she worried about how difficult it would be once she returned home. What if life got busy? Again, what if they started to drift apart? At the cafe, the smell of fresh coffee and baked goods filled the air. They found a cozy spot by the window and sat down with their drinks. "I have an idea," Mia said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Let's create a schedule for our calls. We can talk every week, like a coffee date from afar. Sophie's heart swelled with joy at the thought. That's a great idea. We can even pick a theme for each call. Like one week we could talk about our favorite movies, and the next week we could share our goals. Mia nodded excitedly. Yes. And we can send each other little care packages with things we love. It will feel like we're sharing a piece of our lives, even when we're apart. As they discussed their plans, Sophie felt a renewed sense of hope. They could make this work. Their friendship was too strong to let distance break it apart. They were determined to put in the effort, and that made all the difference. After finishing their pastries, they decided to take a walk around the neighborhood. Sophie admired the bright colors of the flowers lining the streets and the cheerful sounds of children playing in the parks. This city felt alive, and she was grateful to experience it with Mia. As they strolled, they talked about their dreams for the future. Mia shared her desire to travel the world and explore new cultures. Sophie talked about her passion for writing and how she wanted to become an author one day. They encouraged each other, sharing ideas and inspiration. I believe in you. Sophie, Mia said, her eyes shining with sincerity. You have such a talent for storytelling. Can't wait to read your books someday. Sophie felt a rush of warmth at Mia's encouragement. Thank you, and I believe you can travel anywhere you want. You have the courage to go after your dreams. With every word of support, Sophie felt the distance between them shrink even more. They were not just friends, they were each other's cheerleaders, lifting one another up. As the day went on, they returned to Mia's house and decided to spend the evening watching movies together. They picked their all-time favorites and settled in with popcorn, just like they used to do. Laughter filled the room as they quoted lines and shared their favorite moments from the films. When the final movie ended, Sophie felt a bittersweet pang in her heart. The day had been perfect. But she couldn't shake the feeling of sadness that came with knowing she would soon leave. Mia, she started, her voice soft. I want you to know that even when I go back home, you will always be in my heart. I don't want to lose what we have. Mia reached out and took Sophie's hand. We won't lose it. We're stronger together. We'll keep making memories no matter where we are, I promise. Sophie smiled, feeling a surge of determination. She realized that their friendship was worth fighting for, no matter the distance. They would stay connected through calls, messages, and visits. As she prepared to leave the next day, Sophie felt a sense of hope blooming inside her. She knew that even though they were separated by miles, their bond was unbreakable. They were two friends with dreams, and they would support each other no matter what. With that thought in mind, Sophie packed her bags, ready to return home with a heart full of love and hope. They would face the challenges of distance together, and she believed they would come out stronger on the other side. Their friendship was a bridge that could never be broken, and she was excited for the future they would create together. Sophie sat quietly on her bed, staring at her phone. It had been a week since she returned home from visiting Mia, and she missed her friend more than she could express. They had promised each other to stay connected, but the reality of every day, life was beginning to weigh on her. Schoolwork piled up, and she felt overwhelmed. Each day, she thought of reaching out, but doubt crept in. What if Mia was too busy? What if their friendship couldn't survive the distance? But deep down, Sophie knew she had to try. Their friendship was too important to let it fade away. Remembering the promise they made, she took a deep breath and opened her messaging app. She started typing a message to Mia, pouring her heart into every word. Hey, Mia. I've been thinking about you a lot. I miss our calls and chatting about everything. How have you been? Let's plan a time to talk soon. After sending the message, Sophie felt a mix of excitement and fear. What if Mia was busy with her new life? What if she had made new friends and didn't have time for Sophie anymore? But before she could second-guess herself, her phone buzzed with a response. Sophie, I miss you too. Things have been busy, but I always have time for you. About we talked this weekend? I can't wait to catch up. Sophie's heart soared. Mia still cared about her. They set a time for their call, and Sophie spent the next few days looking forward to it. She felt a renewed sense of hope. Their friendship was still strong, and she was determined to keep it alive. When the weekend arrived, Sophie prepared for the call excitedly. She made sure to find a quiet spot in her room where they could talk without interruptions. As the time approached, she felt butterflies in her stomach. Would they still connect the same way they had before? Finally, her phone rang, and she answered eagerly. Mia. Hey, Sophie. Mia's voice came through the speaker, bright and cheerful. It's so good to hear your voice. Sophie smiled, feeling warmth spread through her. You too. I've missed this. How are things going for you? They chatted about life, school, and the new city. Mia shared stories about her new friends and experiences, while Sophie talked about her classes and the things she had been working on. They laughed and reminisced about their shared memories, and it felt like no time had passed at all. I loved our movie night. Mia said we should do that again, maybe with a video call next time. Sophie felt a surge of excitement. Yes, we can watch the same movie and chat about it as we go. We'll be like we're right next to each other, as they continued. Talking, Sophie realized how much she needed this connection. The distance felt less daunting when they shared their lives, even from afar. They made plans for regular calls and promised to send each other updates, pictures, and little surprises whenever they could. After the call ended, Sophie felt a mix of joy and determination. She knew that distance could be challenging, but she believed in their friendship, could find ways to stay connected and support each other, no matter where they were. The following week, Sophie decided to take her commitment a step further. She started a scrapbook to document their friendship. She collected pictures, notes, and mementos that represented their time together. Each page was filled with memories that reminded her of the bond they shared. When she finished the scrapbook, she decided to send it to Mia as a surprise. She carefully packaged it, adding a letter that expressed her feelings. I hope this reminds you of all the great times we've had together. No matter how far apart we are, you are always in my heart, she wrote. After sending the package, Sophie felt a sense of accomplishment. She was taking action to keep their friendship alive. It felt empowering to know that she could bridge the gap between them. A few days later, Sophie received a message from Mia. Sophie, I got your package. The scrapbook is amazing. It made me so happy. Thank you for putting this together. Really can do this, can't we? Sophie smiled as she read the message. They were in this together, and they would face the challenges of distance as a team. No matter where life took them, they would always have each other. With renewed hope and determination, Sophie realized that love and friendship could conquer any distance. They were stronger together, and she believed they could create a beautiful journey ahead, one filled with memories, support, and unwavering friendship. As long as they kept their hearts open, the distance would never break their bond. Sophie woke up to a sunny Saturday morning, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Today was the day she and Mia had planned their first virtual movie night since Sophie returned home. They had chosen a classic film they both loved, and Sophie had been looking forward to this moment all week. However, as she prepared for the call, a wave of anxiety washed over her. What if the movie felt different now? What if their connection had faded since Mia moved? Sophie shook her head, pushing those thoughts aside. She believed in their friendship and knew they could make this work, as the clock ticked closer to their start time. She set up her laptop in the living room, making sure the camera was positioned just right. She even made popcorn, just like they used to do when they watched movies together. The smell filled the room, and Sophie couldn't help but smile at the memory. When the call finally connected, Mia's face appeared on the screen, bright and cheerful. Sophie, you look great, she exclaimed, waving enthusiastically. And so do you, Sophie replied, feeling her heart lift. Seeing Mia's familiar smile made her feel connected, even though they were miles apart. They chatted for a few moments, catching up on their lives. Mia shared funny stories from school while Sophie talked about her latest writing project. The laughter flowed easily, and Sophie felt the distance start to fade away. After a few minutes, they clicked play on the movie. They settled in, popcorn in hand, and enjoyed the film together. As they watched, they chatted about their favorite scenes, just like they always had. It felt comforting and familiar, and Sophie realized how much she had missed this simple joy. About halfway through the movie, something unexpected happened. The screen froze, and Sophie's heart sank. "Uh-oh," she said, frowning at the spinning circle on her laptop. No, don't do this." Mia chuckled. "Looks like technology is trying to ruin our fun. Let's give it a minute."
Ow.
Felt a wave of frustration. She wanted everything to go perfectly. But she quickly reminded herself that they were still together, even if the movie was acting up. "Okay, let's take a break and chat until it comes back," she suggested. As they waited, they talked about their dreams and aspirations. Mia shared her excitement about joining a new club at school, while Sophie opened up about her desire to write a novel one day. They encouraged each other, and in that moment, Sophie realized how important it was to support one another's dreams. "Remember when we used to talk about our future plans?" Mia asked, her eyes shining. "We said we would always chase our dreams together." Sophie nodded, feeling a surge of determination. "We can still do that. Yes. Just because we're apart doesn't mean we can't be each other's biggest fans." A few minutes, the movie finally resumed, and they laughed as the characters returned to the screen. But the freezing moment had opened something new between them. They had turned a technical setback into a deeper conversation, reinforcing their bond. As the movie ended, Sophie felt a sense of accomplishment. They had faced a challenge together and turned it into an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. She realized that their friendship was not just about shared experiences, but also about supporting each other through thick and thin. "I had so much fun tonight," Mia said, her voice filled with warmth. "Thank you for doing this. It felt like old times." "Me too," Sophie replied, her heart full. "Let's make this a regular thing. We can have movie nights every month, and we can even pick a theme for each one." Mia's eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing. I love it. We can still create memories, no matter the distance." As the call came to an end, Sophie felt a wave of hope wash over her. She realized that their friendship was strong enough to withstand any distance or obstacle. They could still support each other and share their lives, even from afar, with determination. In her heart, Sophie began to think about how she could continue to strengthen their friendship. She wanted to send postcards, write letters, and share her writing with Mia. She knew that as long as they both put in the effort, their bond would only grow stronger. As she closed her laptop, Sophie felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was ready to embrace the journey ahead, knowing that no distance could ever break the connection they shared. They were two friends, unstoppable and full of hope, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Sophie woke up to a bright, sunny morning, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Today was the day she and Mia had planned their first in-person reunion since Mia moved away. After months of phone calls, virtual movie nights, and exchanging letters, they were finally going to see each other again. Sophie could hardly believe it. She had spent the last few weeks counting down the days, planning everything to make this visit special. They had talked about meeting halfway between their homes, at a beautiful park that had a lake and plenty of open space. Sophie packed a picnic basket with all of Mia's favorite snacks, sandwiches, fruit, and homemade cookies. She even included the friendship bracelet she had made for Mia, a way to celebrate their bond. As she drove to the park, Sophie felt butterflies in her stomach. What if things felt different now that they were together? What if they had changed too much? But deep down, she knew their friendship was strong. She was determined to make this reunion a joyful celebration of their connection. When she arrived at the park, Sophie could see the vibrant colors of flowers blooming and hear children laughing in the distance. It was a beautiful day, and she felt a wave of hope wash over her. She set up the picnic blanket under a big oak tree, making sure it was the perfect spot. As she waited, her heart raced with anticipation. Then, she spotted Mia walking toward her with a big smile on her face. Sophie's heart soared. Mia looked just as she remembered, with her bright eyes and contagious laughter. "Sophie?" Mia called out, running to her. They embraced tightly, feeling the warmth of their friendship enveloping them. "Can't believe we're finally together." "I know, it feels like a dream," Sophie replied, her voice full of joy. They settled down on the picnic blanket, surrounded by the beauty of nature. As they shared the food, They laughed and talked about everything that had happened in their lives since they last saw each other. They reminisced about their childhood adventures, their dreams, and the challenges they had faced while being apart. "Mia, I missed you so much," Sophie said, her eyes shining with sincerity. "I was worried that our friendship might fade, but I'm so glad we kept in touch." Mia nodded, her expression serious. "I felt the same way. But every time we talked or exchanged letters, it reminded me how strong our bond is. We can overcome anything together." After finishing their picnic, they decided to take a walk around the park. The sun shone brightly, and the gentle breeze made the day feel magical. As they strolled, they talked about their dreams for the future. Mia shared her plans to travel and see the world, while Sophie talked about her writing aspirations. They encouraged each other, and Sophie felt inspired by Mia's enthusiasm. Suddenly, they came across a small playground. "Let's go play," Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Sophie laughed. "Are you serious? We're not kids anymore. Come on, just for old time's sake," Mia urged, pulling her toward the swings. With a smile, Sophie agreed. They took turns swinging, their laughter echoing in the air. It felt freeing, like they were young girls again, without a care in the world. In that moment, Sophie realized that no matter how much time had passed or how far apart they lived, their friendship had retained its joy and playfulness. Afterward, they found a quiet spot by the lake where they could sit and relax. As they watched the ducks swim, Sophie took a deep breath. I was really scared about how this reunion would go. I didn't want to feel distant again." Mia turned to her, her expression warm. "I understand, but look at us. We've made it through so much, and we're still here. Our friendship is strong because we chose to fight for it." Sophie felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. They had both worked hard to maintain their connection, and it had paid off. "You're right. I believe we can face anything together. We just need to keep communicating and making time for each other." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they made a pact to always prioritize their friendship. They promised to visit each other more often, to keep sharing their lives, and to always support one another, no matter the distance. With a sense of hope in her heart, Sophie knew that they had created a beautiful path forward.
Yeah.
Friendship was not just a memory. It was a living, breathing bond that would continue to grow. No matter where life took them, they would always have each other, ready to face any challenge together. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Sophie smiled at Mia. "This is just the beginning of our next adventure together." Mia nodded, her eyes shining brightly. "I can't wait." In that moment, Sophie felt a deep sense of joy and hope. Their friendship was stronger than ever, and she knew that together they could conquer anything life threw their way.